at the Marks Washington MTC Media here down on the floor of Cap One Arena. VCU wins the Atlantic 10 Conference Tournament 68-63. The game was as close as the score. Joe Bamisell would end up with 2 free throws with 0.5 seconds left, but this was largely a one-possession game going down to the end. George Mason had a chance to tie it after a missed VCU three-point attempt. Jalen Haynes, and this is perfect, talked to Tony after the game about it. The idea of not calling a timeout, perfect. They attack an unbalanced floor for VCU. Jalen Haynes, so heady. He gets inside the lane, understands to kick the ball out and give Zach Anderson a lot of credit. He relocates to the angle of the ball. Perfect pass, perfect look, perfect shot. Ball spins in and out. We're playing an overtime game because we would have been tied at 66. George Mason was that close to forcing this game into overtime, and now they wait. More than likely, the resume is not going to get them an NCAA at-large bid. I know as coaches do this time of year, Skin did kind of lobby saying, 26 wins in this league should give you some sort of consideration for at-large. I'm basing it on seeing all these supposed experts for these big newspapers and big outlets, and unfortunately they didn't have George Mason as being anywhere close to getting a large bid. And to be honest with you, some of them were not even putting VCU in if VCU had lost, say, with their incredible season. So this did come up as a winner-take-all. Max Shulga led the Rams. He had 18 points. Jack Clark, Joe Bamisell had 17 points apiece. For George Mason, rough shooting day. Jalen Haynes, 17 points, 8 rebounds. Darius Maddox had 12 points. And really the story of this game was physicality. I don't think that George Mason felt like they were rewarded when they got the ball inside with the amount of free throw attempts. They were 16 for 19. VCU was 22 of 27. And when you consider that 25 of those free throws are in the flow of the game, the last 2 was a foul with 0.5, but were in the flow of the game, so this wasn't a foul down the end type of 27 attempts. I can understand why maybe Coach Skin was a little upset, didn't feel like they were rewarded with a lot of the bumps on their best player and a lot of that. But I will tell you, one of the key moments in the game, George Mason has a perfect defensive possession. And if Jared Phillips just holds his ground and contests and not try to block a 3, he tries to block it, he fouls Max Shulga, and it goes from a 1-possession game to a 2-possession game late where, just a contest. You didn't have to jump to try to block. That certainly was a big thing. And look, George Mason, I give him a lot of credit. They navigated all year. Skin, this is not a secret. Skin had talked about not really truly having a true point guard. Braden O'Connor generally plays off the ball. K.D. Johnson, even though he has a point guard body, when he was at Auburn, he played a lot off the ball. They navigated around some poor play as far as from the point guard position. K.D. Johnson, I'm sure this is the game he would like to forget with the 3 turnovers, 0 for 5 shooting. Honestly, Braden O'Connor, the one that is the shooting guard that was moved to point guard, he certainly was solid all game. He had 10 points, had 3 assists, only turned the ball over once. I thought there was times where he had a tough time dealing with the physicality, driving to the basket, he'd get bumped and couldn't finish. I believe the stat was George Mason was 6 for 26 on layups. And that is a hard thing to win. It's hard to swallow when you lose 68-63 and you're that inefficient on layups. One of 2 things happen. You rue the fact that your guys couldn't make the layups, or you wonder how much balance and how much you were rewarded as far as the officiating tonight. But for George Mason, they now wait. They're going to wait to see where they're going to be. Skin said it the most, and he's right, which is they will be playing postseason somewhere. As far as VCU, they are waiting to see what region they'll put in, who their first round opponent will be. So that'll be very, very exciting. Once again, VCU 68, George Mason 63. This is Marks Washington, MTC Media.